Hello and welcome to the Fools on Stools podcast. My name is Kevin Walker, and as always, I'm joined by my co-stars Anthony Council and Cullen Brown. Today is Wednesday, April 27th, 2022. We hope you're having a wonderful day today. Thank you so much for letting us be a part of your day. If you have a great time and don't mind, please do post us, share us, or tell others about us. If you don't like what you hear, then simply tell no one. We have a little bit of a new segment that I want to give that we want to try at the top of hour one. I'm just gonna kick it over to the boys. And boys, would y'all mind telling the listeners a little quick snippet of something positive going on in your life?
So this is kind of the first edition of this topic. Yeah. So I didn't know how big picture we wanted to go with it.
Just something positive.
Just anything positive?
Yeah. Something positive.
Okay, so the biggest thing positive is finals are obviously coming up for us.
That's a positive? No, I'm kidding.
Well, the thing is, for me specifically, I'm about to finish up my minor.
Ah, that's big. That's huge.
So within 3 weeks, I will have my minor in psychology.
Awesome.
Nice.
So that's my positive thing. We're grinding. We're looking good in both classes. I don't know what my minor GPA is, but it's in the high threes, I think.
Oh, that's good.
That's good.
So
really
all right,
good.
Yeah. And so let's make it tradition. After somebody says they're positive, we all clap.
Okay, a little golf clap there. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Gnarly.
Anthony?
School's almost over. That's probably just the biggest thing. School's almost over.
Yep.
That's my positive thing.
School's
All right. Okay. I like it.
Okay.
Kevin?
For me personally, I got some things going on behind the scenes. Talking to some people, doing some interviews. Just networking, like as the journalism, professionals say, networking. So just talking to some important people. Telling them everything I'm capable of and telling them everything I can do. Doing some internship interviews on the side. So we'll see how those things pan out in the near future. But yeah, those are positive. So
yeah,
best of luck, Kevin. Yeah,
best of luck, Kevin. Yep,
appreciate it.
Yep.
Now on to our normally scheduled program. Today is National Prime Rib Day. I don't think we show barbecue enough love on the show. I think we have in spotlights and spurts here and there, but I definitely think in due time it deserves to be it does deserve its shout out. So today is National Prime Rib Day, and I know I love me some prime ribs.
It deserves its due diligence. I think that's
what deserves its due diligence.
Yeah. That's what I was trying to get to.
Absolutely.
I'm just here helping out, man.
A bunch of alliteration.
Yeah. Dry rub.
Yep.
Ribs. So my family, obviously, I'm not going to keep bragging about my family's cooking. I just realized what I was about to do. I've done that way too much on the show. But I will say, during my senior trip in high school, which was back when there was not even cars on the road, it was just horses taking you everywhere. I went through Memphis, and I went to this like little hole in the wall place that literally you kind of had to like walk down to. And it was in like a basement type restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And I had some dry rub prime ribs that I'm only mad that I didn't get the name of the restaurant, because it is to this day, like, it's up there with any bit of prime rib that I've ever had in Texas or anywhere around the country. And it was in Memphis, Tennessee.
So does Texas not do it the best?
For prime ribs, I got to give Memphis their due.
Hey, man, Memphis got some good cooking up there, man.
Yeah.
They know how to barbecue.
Like, I haven't tried Kansas City barbecue, because that's another one.
I've heard that's the highest contender.
Yeah. So, but I had to give Memphis their due. We're going to be talking about Memphis on the podcast today, but in terms of ribs, they do it well. They do it well.
It's probably because those ribs be jumping so high.
Yeah.
He just burns all those calories in the air.
Are you a dry rub, or are you a sauce kind of rib guy?
I'm sauce. I'm a sauce guy.
I'm gonna take it wherever it's given.
Yep.
I like it. Okay. I mean, if
like that, Kevin. That's a good answer.
If it's got to be a messy rib, then
Look,
it's
that's
gonna
the
be
right
a messy
answer,
rib.
actually. Yeah.
They give you talettes for a reason.
Now, are you putting a bib on, or are you
Lord.
just not even thinking?
So the last time I had a bib on and I ate some food was when I went and ate seafood at Joe's.
At Joe's.
Joe's Crab Shack?
Yeah, Joe's Crab Shack.
Shack.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So that's the last time I wore a bib.
I feel like I haven't been there. Well,
I haven't been there in a while.
with my old age, I don't know how long it's been, but yeah, it's been a while, because they have one like over by off of the interstate, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Yep.
Yeah.
Joe's Crab Shack. Yep.
Yep.
So
So good.
But I I'm very mindful of what I am wearing though when I am preparing to eat some.
So what you're
barbecue.
currently wearing, a white T-shirt, would
no.
be a bad
Got it.
idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey,
Got it.
sometimes you got to go shirtless. Sometimes you just got to do it.
Yeah.
Make it easier on yourself in the future.
Fair enough.
That's true.
But
Make sure you have a lot of napkins beside you too. Also.
yeah, like I said, they give out those towelettes for a reason. You got to use them. So, let's get over to the NFL. NFL's king, so I'm not gonna say we haven't talked about it in a while because I'm pretty sure we talk about it in some shape, way, or form.
Yeah.
Every show. But one of the most exciting times of the year is here, and that is the NFL draft. The time of the year where everybody tries to guess where everybody's going to go, and probably 10% of it is right. And I think that falls, even in my opinion, more true this year than other years, with a limited amount of quarterbacks, a heavily defensive draft, and a era of NFL football where almost every team has a quarterback. And I know we'll get into this quarterback carousel a little bit later, but what is y'all's quick 1 through 31 or 1 through 32, because obviously we're just previewing the first round for tomorrow. What is y'all's quick 1 through 32, and who is y'all's most notable takes, and is there a snag that y'all think no one else has on the board?
You know, I have three key players that I have that are like on my mind. One is Aiden Hutchinson. I do think that Jacksonville just needs to take him. Number one, he's one of the best defensive ends in college right now. He's proved it with the tape. You can watch it. He's quick. He has athletic.
Very
technical.
Michigan.
Very, very technical. Very technical too. And I think that that's just the right pick for them. And then even if they don't take Aiden Hutchinson, I have another guy who I think Jacksonville would love, and I brought this for a reason. Hot sauce.
Little Sauce Gardner.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
So
As a number one overall pick, you'd take a corner right
either
there.
number one or number two.
Really?
So,
okay. Wow.
I don't know if he'll go that high. I don't know the last time a corner has gone first overall.
Not first overall. Remember Jeff Okudah a couple years went top 3 to the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
So it's not improbable that he couldn't be one of the first 3-4 guys taken.
Right.
What I will say, and we're going to get into who we think the Jaguars should take at number 1 here in a minute, so I don't want to dive too much into that, although Anthony does have some good players there. To me personally, right, we sit there and we look at a draft, and some people get turned off by the fact that the quarterback class isn't the greatest. And what I'll tell you is that while it may not be, and I'm not going to sit here and try to say that these guys are even close to some of the other quarterback classes we've had in recent years, this is definitely a draft that you're going to love the big uglies.
Oh, yeah.
The offensive line, the defensive line, maybe some corners will get some love there too. I know there's going to be like 3 guys in the top 15 that have a good chance of getting picked. But for the most part, it's going to be guys that you hope their name doesn't get called too much unless they're a pass rusher on Sundays, but they're very valuable to your team.
Oh, yeah.
Me personally, I'm looking at the 3 offensive tackles, the top 3. Evan Neal, the offensive tackle from Alabama. Ike Ekwonu, I hope I pronounced that name right.
I think you did.
Yeah, you hit it.
From NC State, and then Charles Cross from
Charles Cross
from Mississippi State. All 3 of those guys, I think, are franchise-altering tackles in the league. I'm going to be very interested where they all go because I do think all 3 of them have a very good chance of going top 10. We just don't know where.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give shout out to the big boys. I think those are my guys to watch here in the first round.
I think I completely agree with you. I think, and I do have to agree with you. I think a lot of people, especially when the pre-draft conversation started happening, everybody's like, oh, there's no quarterbacks. I'm not gonna watch. Right. First off, yeah, you are gonna watch because you do. What else are you gonna do?
Yeah, the ratings tell us different.
Yeah,
exactly.
So. But I think anybody who doesn't tune into the NFL draft, if other than the fact that you may or may not be busy, if you're not tuning in because there's limited quarterbacks, then you're a fool, and not in the good kind. Like
he's not a foolie. You're just a fool.
You're just a fool, and that's not good. So like Cullen was saying, this is the draft of the big boys. This is a defensive heavy draft.
Yes.
And we have not had one of those in a little bit of time.
So pass rushers tend to be where the especially in the last like 5 years to a decade, where college has really produced some studs. Just off the top of my head, both Bosa brothers, Chase Young, stuff like that. Khalil Mack too recently. So we've had guys that are going high in terms of like pass rushers and everything, and that's one of the more valuable positions in sports, in my opinion. But this year is specifically well-rounded, whether you're talking pass rusher, whether you're talking inside defensive tackle Jordan Davis, safety Kyle Hamilton, cornerback, we've got Derek Stingley Jr., Sauce Gardner, as Anthony previously mentioned, and Trent McDuffie from the University of Washington. We've got guys all over. Devin Lloyd, linebacker from Utah. There's going to be a lot of defensive players taken in this first round that are going to be potential game changers on Sunday. So, in a world that really caters to the offensive side of the football in today's NFL, this is going to be a little love shown to the other side of the football.
Yeah, I agree. And I know this isn't necessarily a hot take or anything, but the guy that I want to see go somewhere, I want to see where Jordan Davis goes.
Yeah.
You want to talk about a franchise-altering character? Jordan Davis is that and more.
I was reading on Twitter from a draft insider. I apologize, I don't have his name in front of me. He is rising up boards. He's been consistently, like, throughout mock drafts, kind of mid-first round and everything.
Mm-hmm.
There is a chance that he could slide
Top
up
10?
Borderline. I'd say could potentially sneak in there, maybe with a trade-up scenario, or maybe some team just really falls in love with them. Jordan Davis, to me, is the best interior defensive lineman by far in this draft.
Oh, yeah.
You saw that. You saw that all season, too.
Well, you just see...
I mean, he's athletic. He's athletic enough that worst case scenario, you have to move him, to a defensive end. You could on some plays.
You could, but I think his best...
Oh, yeah, he's best interior.
The picture that I'm forgetting about, the Georgia picture, where he's standing next to the linebacker, Georgia, that I think, if I'm not mistaken, he did, I think it's Nakobe Dean, where he's sitting there and Jordan Davis has got his arm on him and everything, and he towers over him. Like, Jordan Davis is a mountain of a human being.
And he moves.
And, yeah, he's athletic.
Fast.
He runs.
Yeah,
I mean, that 40-yard dash, I know you saw it, Kevin. It is one of the crazier athletic specimens we've ever seen come out at that position, and I totally agree. Can you imagine him with the Los Angeles Chargers?
I'm just gonna
Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, J.C. Jackson, Derwin James, that defense.
Jordan Davis on the... Oh, my gosh. That's insane.
That'd be crazy.
He's a guy
There's a lot of teams that need him.
He's going to be a game changer. I think he's one of those safer picks in the first round, for sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Now,
I think so.
Now I want to take it... I kind of want to switch it to an offensive side. Which quarterback do you think is going to be first off the boards? Do you guys think?
I don't think this is really an argument anymore. No. I think he's proven himself, even from a lower level college. I think Malik Willis is, and I say this with complete understanding that, and we can even look back at last year's draft and understand this. Quarterbacks going into the draft look a lot different from a year after the draft. We can sit here and say Malik Willis is the best quarterback in this draft based off of what we've seen.
So it's an interesting thing with Malik Willis. To me, Anthony, to answer your question, there's potentially 5 quarterbacks that go first round just because of the value position. Not necessarily that they're first round guys, but there's 5 quarterbacks in total that I want you to just kind of put in your mental block for draft night. There's obviously Malik Willis, as Kevin mentioned, Kenny Pickett, Matt Corral, Desmond Ritter, and Sam Howell.
Would you like a Desmond Ritter to be
the
a
thing
Seahawk?
I'll be talking more Seattle Seahawks in the top of the second hour.
Okay,
Make sure you tune in.
Cool.
But to me personally, 2 guys in particular I would have even remotely as first round grades. One is Kenny Pickett, and the other one is Malik Willis, who I believe should be QB1 and is rightfully so on a lot of teams' boards, QB1. In a draft like this where there's not a for sure thing, there's not a prototypical prospect that checks all the boxes, everything in the film room and all that other stuff. Malik Willis, how he is as a person, how he conducts himself on and off the football field, not to mention his tape and everything, his arm talent, all the rest. I think with his upside, he should be the first quarterback taken. I ideally want him to go where he doesn't have to start right away because I think he does need a year of like maybe going through the system, learning the playbook
kind of thing.
Potentially, right? Because I just think that'd be best for him long term. Right. He could go as high as number 2. Like Detroit would have potentially have interest.
I think that would be, if you're a Detroit fan, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, because the way Jared Goff's contract is structured, it's very easy to get off after this upcoming year. So you sit there, you play Jared Goff for this year. You see what Jared Goff can do if he can maybe light a spark under him to start off the season and everything. And then, hey, listen, you've got this guy in waiting. He's got a year of seasoning of training, getting his NFL body. You throw him in. Detroit hopefully he's got a better team around him because that offensive line in Detroit is one of the more underrated units in the league. And I think
we've talked about it. Detroit has some players. They have some dogs over there.
They need to upgrade a receiver.
Yep.
Because receivers where they're lacking, but TJ Hawkinson, DeAndre Swift, Jamal.
Who they picked their 5th-year option up on Hawkinson.
Yeah, and Jamal Williams. So they've got two good running backs, a really good tight end. If they can sort some targets out for Malik Willis, sky's the limit in Detroit.
Yeah.
If he were to potentially go there, obviously.
Yeah. So who has out of this draft, and I guess I'm kind of the moderator here.
Okay.
But who has the highest ceiling in this draft?
I mean, there's a lot of guys.
So Willis would be up there.
Yeah.
And we'll get it. So I'm gonna swing this into another topic that we're gonna do because Cam Robinson just signed with the Jaguars for 3 years, $54 million, if I'm not mistaken, off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
At number 1, it's between Aiden Hutchinson and Trayvon Walker out of Georgia. Trayvon Walker's only a 1-year starter.
Great last name.
Yeah, totally. No bias and all, whatever.
No.
He tested freakishly at the combine. It's one of the reasons that he rose as quickly as he did. And the underrated thing here is that it's the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars, if you look at their previous draft history, they tend to go upside over like the for sure thing whenever it comes to evaluating their prospects. Kaylavon Chason, their rookie, or not rookie now, but at the time, pass rusher out of LSU was a very raw prospect. They could have gotten a number of different guys at his position. And they've drafted the running back last year from Clemson. I'm blanking on his name, who got hurt.
Travis Etienne.
Etienne, yeah. Again, Najee Harris would have been the guy to go here, but they were betting on the upside of Etienne.
And that Trevor Lawrence connection.
Yeah, exactly. And bulky, I'm telling you, man, do not be surprised if Trayvon Walker goes to number 1 at for Jacksonville. Because he, again, just with the pure upside and everything. Aiden Hutchinson's going to be a guy, very safe, 7 to 10 sacks. You can check that box, you're good. And that's a stud defensive end.
Mm-hmm.
Trayvon Walker, if he hits, that's a guy that's pushing 12, 14, 16 sacks a year. And that's a significant difference, but that's what you're betting on. And he also could go the other way. He could also be a guy that's 2, 4, 6.
You never know. And that's why the draft is the way that it is. You don't know until 4 or 5 years down the road.
Yeah.
And but just thinking about the Jaguars and everything that they got, dude, after coming off of last year, which I think was a bad representation of the Jaguars.
Bad representation of Urban Meyer.
He did
that too.
Look. I'm not even gonna get into all that.
Oh, I'll say it. Urban Meyer was terrible.
No, it was horrible. It was bad.
He was trash.
It set Trevor Lawrence back, I think, a couple of years.
He didn't know who Aaron Donald was.
Yeah, he didn't know Aaron Donald, Jamal Lewis, Deebo Samuel. Oh yeah, didn't know who they were.
What? Oh
yeah.
Gosh.
Okay. Oh yeah.
With that being said, I think Anthony, you talked about the sky the limit. The sky's the limit for the Jaguars. Now, I'm not sitting here saying they're going to go to, whatever. Like, I'm not saying they're going to. I think they could make the playoffs. I'm not saying that they will. I'm not saying it's a for sure. Don't bet your money on it, okay? Don't put your house on the Jaguars. I'm just saying I think this year they will have a significantly better year. They obviously have a better roster. This draft could do a lot for the Jaguars.
They could.
I have good. If I'm Jacksonville, if I'm a Jacksonville fan, obviously I have more hope in who went to coach for the Jaguars?
Doug Peterson.
I have a lot more hope in Doug Peterson than Urban Meyer, obviously.
Right.
But having Doug Peterson come in, a Super Bowl winning head coach for a team that has suffered for the past years, will put, I'm pretty hopeful.
So, couple things.
And optimistic.
Couple things I got to address there. because I gotta be honest when you give your takes like that. Jacksonville, because Trevor Lawrence, this is essentially his rookie year. Like last year, you might as well take his
I
away.
agree with that too.
I agree.
Like he's not going to sit here and be what he should be in year 2 because of what Urban Meyer did.
Right.
The second thing is, regardless of the draft that Jacksonville has, which I'm assuming they'll have a good one. I mean, they've got obviously a lot of good picks, being the number 1 overall pick and everything. They're at best the 3rd best team in their division. They're not better than the Colts, and they're not better than the Tennessee Titans. So to sit there and say playoffs, it could have happened, absolutely. But I just think that Trevor Lawrence, it's going to take a couple years really rounding that team, kind of getting the Urban Meyer stench out of there, and really just sitting here. Yeah, exactly. And just kind of building around him, making sure that Doug Pearson puts his game plan in. And I would look not potentially this upcoming year, but the following year for Jacksonville to really kind of sit there and take their peak and compete for a playoff spot.
So I just want to bring up one thing.
Okay.
So there's a lot of teams in this specific draft that have 2 first-round picks, right? Mm-hmm. There's like 16 selections. We have the Detroit Lions, we have the Houston Texans, Green Bay Packers, Kansas City Chiefs, New Orleans Saints, the Giants, the Jets, and the Eagles. My question for you guys is, which team needs to hit the bell on this draft with their 2 first-round picks?
I mean, I can name about 2 or 3 teams, but I think the Chiefs are one of them. I know the Chiefs are trying to trade their picks to get up in the 20s, and I think that they're doing that so that they can get a wide receiver. Not to necessarily replace what Tyreek Hill was, because you are not going to find a wide receiver out of this draft to replace Tyreek Hill.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
But with the core of wide receivers that you have, adding a rookie would not be bad. We already know Kansas City is all about championship all throughout roster. They want to make their guys. They want to bring them in young and bring them in and train them. I get that. I think it makes most sense to get a wide receiver. With that being said, they could literally pick anything and help their team. If they want to go out and get the best offensive lineman with whatever number 21st, 22nd, whatever pick, they want to go and get the best offensive lineman that's in the draft at that time, that is going to help their team. Best defensive lineman that's on that draft, that is going to help their team. Safety, that is going to help their team. Whatever they get will help their team. Kansas City has some holes that they need to fix, but Jets, I think, are another one. You mentioned a lot of teams that have 2 picks, and they have 2 picks for a reason. It's because they have not been good for a while. Kansas City got those picks because they traded one of their better players. Those teams that have those 2 picks for a reason. They can either take those 2 picks, make those picks with them, or take those 2 picks, and depending on where they are in that draft, move up. And this brings into play that carousel of quarterbacks that we've been talking about. The Bakers, the Jimmies, and Deebo Samuel. Obviously not a quarterback, but obviously and very much so in this conversation come draft night.
Okay, so we're going to switch to that here in a second, but I got to address what you just said. So I do agree that Kansas City, they're all in on the draft. And what I mean by that is the second you decided you were not going to pay Tyreek Hill and be essentially all in, the Chiefs were thinking long game. The Kansas City Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes signed to that obviously lucrative contract we're all very familiar with, largest in sports history. They're in it for the long haul. They understand
and
that.
Not to mention, we've heard nothing with Tyrann Mathieu.
No, well, so we've heard rumors, but yeah, he has not officially signed anywhere. But
exactly.
They did. But they already signed Justin Reed, so they've got the safety position essentially refilled. The Chiefs, yes. They need a hit on wide receiver. I do believe they're going to use one of those picks or trade potentially both of them up to acquire wide receiver if they fall in love with the guy and they just need to move ahead of some teams. To me personally, the team that needs to be more, and I know you mentioned the Jets too, I think with 4 and 10, you're going to get 2 guys that you're going to be absolutely in love with. Regardless, I think 4, they're just going to take the best player available. 10, they'll get another top 10 guy. To me, the team out of those teams that you mentioned, Anthony, is the Green Bay Packers. With trading away Devontae Adams, knowing that Aaron Rodgers is on the wrong side of 30, in fact, closer to 40 than we're giving him credit for, him signing that extension, the Packers need to make sure they get him the best potential weapon that they absolutely can to replace arguably the best receiver in football. To me, the Packers, they've got a chance with the NFC. Again, Tom Brady's coming back. The Bucs are not as strong as they have been. The Rams, they don't have OBJ. They lost some of their depth. San Francisco, we don't know what San Francisco is going to be. Dallas, again, will probably win the NFC East at the moment, but we'll see kind of what they do in the draft. Are they going to be ready to come playoff time? The Packers do have a window if they hit this draft to potentially go in and compete for another Super Bowl and they need to hit on this draft. They need to get a weapon for Aaron Rodgers because right now I think their number one guy is Alan Lazard at the moment.
They need someone bad. And
They
what
do.
if it's a wide receiver like Treylon Burks or
Chris Olave,
fill in the blank. I mean Garrett Wilson. There's a lot of really great wide
receivers. Falling that far.
True.
Yeah.
That is very true.
He is not. And by the way, Garrett Wilson, in my personal opinion, I think he's going to be a game changer for somebody. Garrett Wilson, in terms of wide receiver prospect, he's one of my favorite ones in a while.
Yeah, he is. You want to talk about the sky is the limit. The sky is the limit for him. That dude literally can jump literally very high.
But to piggyback off your last point, and we're going to switch topics just a little bit here, the last thing for the NFL.
Yeah, I got one more question after that, actually. Okay. Before we go on to it.
No,
so
go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so last thing before we go on to our next topic. If you're the GM of your team, right, and I know you're going to go into it on your corner, but just quick answer. If you're the GM and it's the day before the draft, what is the first thing you're thinking?
Let's go position, Kevin. What position do you want the Cowboys to go after?
I guess D-line.
If I'm the Seahawks, I want them to address offensive lineman. I think offensive tackle. Okay. If I can get one of those three guys, I'm a happy camper.
So I'll say defensive lineman or offensive lineman. I think we need to go big. I don't think there's any reason that we need to. I'm not going to say the word waste, but I don't think there's any reason. I guess I am. But I don't think there's any reason to waste our pick on a weapon. We have weapons. We have offensive talent, but we don't. Our offensive line is struggling, as you can tell, and our defensive line is getting old.
Definitely look at it round 2, potentially George Pickens for the Cowboys. I think he's going to be a really hot commodity day too. So, but that's besides the point. That's what I'm saying. You could pick somebody else.
True.
Offensive tackle or edge for the Seahawks. Last thing in the NFL that I wanted to get into. Deebo Samuel, Jimmy Garoppolo, Baker Mayfield. Out of those three, who do you think is the most likely to get moved? Not necessarily for a day one pick, but maybe on day one.
I don't think any of them get moved.
But if you had to pick one.
I'd say Baker.
Yeah, I'd say Baker.
Believe it or not, I'm gonna go Deebo.
I think the 49ers eat Jimmy's contract.
I think that is a very possibility, and he gets released. Me personally, I think they're blowing smoke, and I think teams are calling about Deebo Samuel, and I think the right time to trade him because Deebo is not going to sit there and want to play with the Niners. Day one pick. I think potentially look out for New York Jets number 10.
That's
all I'm saying.
Look, how old is Deebo? Deebo's not that old, right?
No, Deebo's still on his rookie deal, so no, he's not that old.
Okay, so if you're the Jets, trade away all your first-round picks to the Niners and get Deebo. Why not? Why not?
I'm not trading both. If you want to go,
but the Niners have said they want to.
No, that's fine. But I'm not giving like 4 and 10 this year. I would give like 4 or 10, and then like a future first. If I'm giving up 2 firsts, I'm not giving up 4 and 10. I'm just not doing it.
I get that. I get that. But now I'm sorry, guys. I know we can talk about the draft all day long.
We got to move over.
About the Cowboys and the Seahawks all day. But guys, we have a couple of teams that are now on to the next round of the playoffs. We got Miami and Boston taking that win against the Nets and Miami.
You got to do it the Kevin way. We're switching over to the association, my friend.
I'm sorry.
You're talking about the playoffs. We're like, oh, which playoffs you talking about? We got hockey. We got NBA.
I'm sorry.
That's why I do it.
I'm going to give it back to Kevin.
The association.
Let's take it over to the association where Boston swept, took care of, fill in the blank, took Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving.
Took care of Kevin.
Yeah, both of them. Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving to the cleaners. Just took care of business. I think Brooklyn has a lot to worry about in the future, but this is the playoffs. We will be only talking about teams that did make it, not the teams that are in Cancun as we speak.
1, 2, 3, Cancun.
Right.
Oh, man. Listen, Boston Celtics, great job. I think we all sit there and we all pick Boston. Credit to us. Golf claps.
Yeah,
golf
good
claps
job for us.
Of course.
We didn't fall for the media trick.
I think, Anthony, you're sitting pretty because you had Boston going to the finals in your predictions because you had them coming out of the East. I'm amazed that I can still remember that.
Me too, man. Like, very impressive.
Old and
listen, my memory is very
photographic
tricky. I guess so. You picked Boston. Boston potentially with the way the East is shaping up. Because I'm just projecting a little further here. If they do face Milwaukee, Middleton with his injury may or may not play that series.
Yeah.
On the other side, Joel Embiid, we've talked about his thumb injury. We'll talk about more him in a second. And Jimmy Butler's got some inflammation that he's dealing with over in Miami.
And Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, and Kyle Lowry also missed the closeout game against Atlanta. Boston, sometimes it comes down to health, and Boston right now looks like one of the
healthier
healthier teams.
teams.
I'm knocking on wood.
The East is looking very, very open. I'll say that.
It's very top heavy, but you're right. It is very open because I think those 4 teams,
Boston could very well take advantage of this. But as you alluded to earlier, let's talk about those Philadelphia 76ers and Joel Embiid. I'm not going to say James Harden because where the hell has he been?
Well,
nowhere.
So for Tyrese Maxey's been the second best player on that team, so we should be giving Maxey some more credit, if we're being honest.
Well, that's fine. We can give Maxey credit, but who was supposed to be the second best player on the team?
Oh, it should be James Harden, yeah. Absolutely.
Exactly. So where has he been when they've needed him?
He was sitting there, he was just like, because Joel was saying, he's like, he needs Harden to be more aggressive. Harden's doing a great job in terms of distributing. He's not quite athletically where he was even in Brooklyn's sake, or even before that, obviously in Houston. He's not that level of player as of right now. Like, I don't know if it's the hamstring still bothering him, if it's too many clubs with the baby or whatever he's doing. He is just not in peak physical condition. And with Joel Embiid now having that thumb injury, that's a huge game changer for Philly. And that's a huge reason why they potentially brought James Harden in here. Because, again, for how great Joel Embiid is, he, again, has an injury history. And you needed a guy to come in here and say, hey, listen, if Embiid goes down, we might need you to carry us while Embiid takes a game or two just to kind of, get his inflammation down. But Embiid's gutting it out. Credit to him. Harden, you got to step up, brother.
I don't know what's going on over there.
And also, Doc Rivers has a history of 3-1 losses, too.
Look, I
like Doc.
I'm not here to talk bad on Doc's name.
And I'm not trying to.
But it's reality.
I get
exactly.
it. I get it. And I think when it comes down to it, there is no reason you should look at this roster and say they're 2-2 with the Raptors right now.
Well, they're 3-2.
Or 3-2. Apologize.
Yeah.
Still, I mean, if I would have picked any series in the
we talked about it
in the East that would get swept,
yeah,
I would say the Raptors. Raptors would have gotten swept by the Sixers. I get it. Joel Embiid has a thumb injury, but you're like, okay, you look at this roster on paper. They have James Harden. They have Tyrese Maxey. They have
Tobias Harris.
You name it.
Like, where the heck is Tobias Harris? He's getting all that money. What the heck is he doing?
He's been doing that for the past 3 years,
I know,
bro.
seriously. He's just been collecting a check.
Yeah,
you look at
I
this.
Swear.
You look at this roster and you're like, there's no reason that they should escape this without, maybe game 5 4-1.
Yeah.
But you're sitting here right now 3-2 against the Raptors without. We're talking about the Raptors without Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, no, this is
like
so.
But
yeah,
they do have the key of rookie of the year too,
Scotty Barnes.
I get it, but
that should have been Mobley's award, but that's beside the point.
It's crazy.
One thing I will say, because in this previous when we did our predictions, I had Philadelphia beating Miami in this potential second round. With the way Philadelphia is looking right now, which Embiid's health in question, I can't in good faith take Philadelphia in that matchup. Like Miami could potentially stomp the way they stomped Atlanta against Philadelphia if they don't step their game up and take care of business with Toronto.
Yeah, they
quick.
Miami did take care of business with Trae.
On the other hand, if there's another injury, now this one is not as serious as Joel Embiid's. Donovan Mitchell over there in the Utah Jazz went out early in Game 5 in a very big massacre that the Mavericks destroyed the Utah Jazz.
Yeah.
Donovan Mitchell said he's going to play Game 6. He
kind of has to.
The X-rays came back negative.
Yeah.
So, or the MRI,
bruising
not the X-rays,
in both quads is what they're calling it.
How effective do you think we'll be? And do we give? And again, I want you to put your Mavs bias aside.
Right.
Do we give?
No, yeah, I got you.
Do we give the Jazz any chance in Game 6 on their home floor?
So look, it's the Jazz. They are on home court. Obviously, we give them a chance. Donovan Mitchell, I get it. He was injured. Scored 9 points. 9 points.
He was
Rudy Gobert scored 17. Jordan Clarkson scored 20.
Mm-hmm.
Donovan Mitchell didn't even get to double digits. I get it. He's injured. You can only do a limited amount when you're injured.
Mm-hmm.
I don't give him much more than 20 points, honestly, 15 points.
Are we really?
You're saying for Game 6?
Yeah. I mean, it does not look bright for the Jazz. You're coming off of a really bad loss. Yes, you're at home, and that Jazz fan base is very, very passionate. And
that's a nice way of putting it.
That's the word I was looking for.
Yep.
And this series has gotten a little chippy. So
It's been one of the most physical ones for sure.
I mean, and I'm not saying there's. I mean, they obviously have a chance, obviously, but
no way,
Anthony, you got to get in here,
There's
man. I know
no
you've been
way.
chomping at the bit. Come
There's
on.
no. You're really giving the Jazz a chance.
I'm just trying to be non-biased.
and
I think the Mavericks win it. I'm not saying it's going to be a 77-102 victory
I
again.
mean, hey, who knows? But
Hashtag Luka Doncic.
But now I want you to put your Mavs bias in here, okay?
Now that I throw in my Mavs bias, we're going to sweep the floor with
Okay,
them.
thank you.
And then Jordan Clarkson's going to come to Dallas next year.
I tried, audience. I tried to get the most unbiased viewpoint from these guys.
Even if look, he has to put his Mavs bias in this because that's the more that's
You don't have to?
No, you have to because that's the most realistic thing in this whole series.
You don't have to be biased about it.
It's not even about being biased. His Mavs bias is the most realistic because the Jazz.
I don't have any
think
bias.
the
And I think the Mavs are going to win. You can have no bias and still pick the Mavericks.
I get
True.
it. I get that. But it's like you add the Mavs bias with Kevin Walker, and
That's
then
true.
you take that out. What are you losing? Like you're not
It
losing
is
it because
true.
it's reality.
It's part of your brand at this point.
I'm a
Kevin.
little, I don't like to say that I'm a, what do you call it whenever you don't do something for a certain, like superstitious. I'm not a very superstitious person, but I'm not wearing my Mavericks jersey yet for a reason. I'll just say that.
But the reason why I say
Okay.
why I'm saying that his Mavs bias is the most realistic thing is because everybody knows that the Mavericks are going to win this game. The Jazz are literally
You might want to tell that to Utah Jazz and everybody in Utah.
well, they did lose. They did only have 77 points in that game.
Hashtag Luka Doncic.
Like, I mean, hey, and we all saw what Jalen Brunson did to them at home at the same time. So
And I get it. Look, I get it. I just think Rudy Gobert is their Achilles heel. This is me taking the bias out. Rudy Gobert is their Achilles heel. We've been talking about that ad nauseum for a little bit now. And Donovan Mitchell being injured is the last thing that Jazz need.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting here saying that Jordan Clarkson can't drop 35 points because he very well can. Jordan
Right.
Clarkson can be that player. In my personal opinion, he has been the most efficient Jazz player maybe other than Bogdanovich. I'd have to go look at his stats, but Jordan Clarkson has been that guy for them this series.
I agree with that.
I'll jump in here. Donovan Mitchell needs bare minimum 30, probably closer to 35, 40 plus if the Jazz hope to continue in this game. Because I agree, Jordan Clarkson is their second best player. Mike Conley looks like a shell of himself. It's a long days away from him competing in the grindhouse for Memphis. Rudy Gobert, as you mentioned, he's going to be Rudy. There's nothing you could do. He's on your roster. He's going to be Rudy. He's going to cuss and get all animated and come out the next game and look flat. And if the Mavericks play their lineup cards right, he's going to get exposed on defense for the alleged former defensive player of the year. I don't see this going the Jazz way. I do think the Mavs close it out in Game 6. We'll obviously wait and see on that result because they play tomorrow night.
Yes, Thursday night.
But yeah, I just personally, Donovan, if you're going out, go out swinging. I think it'll be very entertaining. I just don't think it'll be enough.
Especially if the Mavericks are shooting like they've been shooting.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true.
But over to the other Western Conference series that have been occurring.
Another interesting one. On the
Eastern side, right? The number 1 seed Miami and the number 2 Boston, they've advanced and they're already in the second round.
Yeah, they're chilling right now.
Minnesota and Phoenix are currently both heading to Game 6 versus their respective teams, the Minnesota Timberwolves and the New Orleans Pelicans. My question to both of you, because again, it's weirdly uncharacteristic, like how confident I understand Phoenix has had Devin Booker out for most of the series, and Memphis, again, they're a young team and everything, and this is technically their second-ish playoff run, even though their first one last year really wasn't a playoff run, but
It was a playoff run-ish.
Again, with knowing what y'all know now, are y'all still confident in the favorites advancing from both Phoenix and Memphis in the series, or do y'all think there could be a potential upset out of one of these guys?
So I think Memphis has been, if anything, I'm more confident in Memphis actually, because I said it before. This playoff run, I know you mentioned it. They sort of had playoff-ish experience. This playoff run would be the true test of what Memphis and what Ja is, and we know Ja is a dog. Memphis will win, and they're gritty. They're gonna do everything possible to win, no matter what it takes.
So you're not even concerned a little bit that they keep falling behind to this Minnesota team, that they keep having to come back and beating?
I think that this is more embarrassing for Minnesota than it is anything.
You mean the 7th seed that forces a game 6? It's more embarrassing for them.
They lost by they had
2 20-point leads in one game that they choked, and then what was it? Was it last night or 2 nights before? I'm getting my days mixed up.
I think it was last night.
How do you have confidence
it was last night,
in a team like that?
Well, that's the thing, but my whole point is that I can't be confident in either. You're saying like you're more confident in Memphis. My whole point is that I genuinely like this series in particular. Minnesota could win the next 2 games, and it wouldn't surprise me based on how the first 5 have gone.
It is a toss-up. It is a toss-up, and when you look at it, but I think I'm just more confident in Memphis to get the job done. I think they're going on momentum. I think they have more players to depend on other than, when you look at Minnesota, you look at Anthony Edwards, you look at Anthony Edwards, and that's about it. So
D'Angelo
Russell,
D'Lo's there, here and there.
Cat's hit.
No, we're not talking about Cat. We're not. He's not here this series. He's in Cancun. All right.
There's the guy who
Cancun.
I can't believe Patrick Beverly really did the. Did you see that?
I saw that. I saw it.
Listen,
He's short.
Yeah.
Yep.
Speaking as a short guy, it's just like, Pat, you're short on the court, respectively, out of all your peers. Like you really don't need to be doing that stuff. You're not.
He's just Pat's. You talk.
It's Pat being Pat.
Yeah,
like,
it's Pat.
Yeah.
He's gonna do that, but I think Memphis does etch this out. I think that they can get the win.
Yeah. Game 6 or Game 7?
So it's 3-2 right now, right?
They're taking the series.
Yep.
So.
Game 6, Anthony?
So is Game 6 out?
They're taking Game 6.
Is Game 6 Minnesota?
They're going.
Game 6 is in Minnesota, yes.
Yeah, Memphis is going to take this cake.
Okay.
They're going to the second round.
I think they'll win.
But that's what I at. Game 6 or Game 7?
I'll give them game. I think Game 6. I think they can do it. Because I think if it comes down to a 7-game series, then it gets like it depends on what Game 6 looked like.
I'll go Memphis in 7.
Okay.
I got
That's
Memphis
fair.
6.
Phoenix, New Orleans with no Devin Booker. I mean, again, it doesn't look like they're saying that he's probably going to be ruled out for Game 6. Do we give New Orleans any chance to extend the series?
So Phoenix is up 3-2, right?
Yes.
Yep.
And where are they going?
It's going to New Orleans.
Oh boy. Zion's not playing?
Say that again. No, Zion said that from what I read about the Pelicans from the reports, Zion could potentially return if the Pelicans advance past round 1.
That would be crazy.
That would be so stupid.
That would be stupid, yeah, for sure. That'd be crazy too.
Yeah, so for sake of not wanting to see that catastrophe play, I got Phoenix in the 6.
Okay.
I got Phoenix in 6, and that would be a problem for Dallas if they make it to the second round.
We'll see what happens.
I think it'll be a very competitive series, but I'm also going to go Phoenix in 6 as well. Here's the thing. If Chris Paul has another bad game, like he's been having the on-off games so far this postseason, if he has an off game in Game 6, don't be surprised if we're going back to Game 7 for Phoenix.
Because, man, B.I. is cold, bro.
He is.
Brandon Ingram is a baller.
And CJ hasn't been himself the last, 3 games, I want to say.
Yeah.
So CJ's due for 1.
Well, and not only that, but, it's a newer team. He didn't start the year with the Pelicans. And
that's fair.
And the Pelicans organization has ran through some stuff this season. So, I just don't. I get that New Orleans is lucky in the fact that Devin Booker is out and they're trying to take advantage. I think that even then, Phoenix is just too stacked. The depth is too large for them to lose.
Well, the 2 guards, it's Grand Theft Alvarado and I forget the other guard's name. I'm forgetting the longer guard that are harassing CP3. They're making his life hell.
Oh, yeah, it's bad.
And if they can continue to do that, maybe frustrate CP3. All I'm saying is New Orleans has got a puncher's chance. They got a puncher's chance in the series. They've forced Game 6. With Devin Booker potentially not playing Game 6, you win that game, you get to Game 7. Like you said, Kevin, anything could happen. So, but I do think Phoenix will close it out. I think they realize, hey, we're the number 1 seed. We got to get this crap going. We'll take care of business. Because, they've been arguably the best team in the NBA the entire season. So, I think they're ready for the challenge.
Yeah, it's just these injuries, man. These injuries are just kicking their you-know-what.
They really are.
And I think the biggest thing is going to be in the second round. The second round is going to be very crucial because, looking at the Memphis, Minnesota series that we're talking about, if Memphis keeps, not creeping up, and if they keep dropping by 20 points against Golden State, that's a problem. And I get it. Golden State already has an injury issue with Andre Iguodala, who's not playing in their in the series right now. And we don't know when he's going to be back. Who's a very key contributor to that Golden State run that they were on back in 2016. Golden State could wash the floor with Memphis in the second round.
So I was the only one who had Golden State making the Western Conference Finals. I'm feeling pretty good about that right now.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling good about Philly, but I'm feeling okay about Golden State. I will say that.
Yeah.
But listen, we are going to switch gears here. We're going to be bringing in a familiar guest on the show. Switching gears here over to Formula One with our Formula One insider, Andrew Maloney. We're going to have him call into the studio today. Make sure y'all tune in. 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 Make sure y'all